Greetings, everyone. Well, it's another Comic Book Wednesday, and this time around I don't have comic books. I do have a few comic book-based movies, yes. One that is an older one I've been wanting to get in the collection for quite some time, and Shout Factory just put out a snazzy little limited edition Blu-ray of it, so I had to get that. Time to stop waffling. Gotta get it. And then another more recent film that some of you may have heard of, and another recent film that some of you may have heard of. The last one is not comic book related, but it is book related, so it kind of ties in. Yeah, Comic Book Wednesday I kind of have as a catch-all day for anything comic books or comic book related, but also books or animation or that sort of thing. It's just kind of anything cartoons, comics, or what have you, or books. That's today. Wednesdays. Well, if I got anything that week. Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Alrighty, so first up, this is a movie I've been wanting to get in the collection for a long time. As you guys know, I'm a huge Marvel fan. So, I have most of the modern ones, but there were still a few of the older ones that I was wanting to get in the collection. I guess I've got the majority of them, but there's still, there's always a few gaps here and there. So this was one in particular. I'd been meaning to pick it up literally for decades. I was going to buy the VHS, and then I didn't, and then the DVD came out. It's like, oh, I'll get the DVD, and then I didn't. And then now, finally, it's on Blu-ray. So I'm like, okay, time to stop waffling, and especially time to stop waffling because Shout Factory put it out as a limited edition, meaning they only put out 1,000 copies of it, so get them now or don't. So what am I talking about? Well, someone who actually has been a nemesis of the Hulk from time to time, Doctor Strange, starring Peter Hooten. Yeah, anyway, this is the one where he's got a nice rockin' afro and a stash, and he's a bit of a ladies' man. Yeah, Stevie Strange has got it going on in the 70s. Yes, this is from 1978. It was a TV movie. I get the impression it was kind of a soft pilot attempt for a potential series, but alas, it only went as far as this movie. But the 70s, as you know, were a time when we were getting a lot of superhero stuff on TV. We had, of course, the Incredible Hulk TV series, which was an all-time favorite of mine, and Wonder Woman, which is another all-time favorite of mine. That's one I need to pick up, actually. I really want to get the Blu-ray of that. But see, there's another gap. There's another gap right there. But anyway, so I guess they were kind of testing the waters with other superhero properties, and this was one of the ones they did. How is it? Well, I mean, I watched it as soon as I got it. I don't think I'd actually seen it since the 80s sometime, where it came on in repeats, just as a movie of the week or whatever. And I watched it then, and I thought it was, I thought it was decent, but, the new one's better by a pretty big stretch. But I mean, this one hits all the right notes. I mean, you've still got, Stephen Strange, doctor, bit of a jerk, and, meets the current Sorcerer Supreme, who helps to train him become the new Sorcerer Supreme. Meanwhile, there's this evil sorceress lady going around causing trouble, and anyway, it's a lot of fun. It definitely has some 70s cheesiness to it, but to me, that's all just part of the charm. And this Blu-ray looks frickin' awesome. I've never seen it look this good. Well, I don't remember how good it looked, because the last time I watched it was almost 40 years ago. Anyway, we just take a quick peek here, just show you the cover, and then the spine, and the back. I think there's some extras on. Yeah, there's a few extras on here as well. And then inside, actually, rather nice disc art, I have to say. And then inside the case, we actually have like the the Multiverse of Madness, I guess. There it is, right there. So, very nice. So, if you ever want to see the original Doctor Strange, get it while the getting's good, because it's a limited edition. I don't know that it was really flying out of their inventory or anything, but always good not to wait on those. So that was one of the few things I kind of treated myself to at the time. I was kind of broke. I was like, really gonna get that Doctor Strange. You know how it is. FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Anyway, next up, that covers the Marvel side of things. I like to have balance, right? Next up, we have a DC movie. So you might have heard of this one. A little movie called The Batman. Yes. It's not Batman, it's The Batman. Not just a Batman. This is The Batman. Alright, I'll stop. Anyway, I remember when this was first announced. And, of course, there was the obligatory... Oh, hi there. I have a kitty
For your little
here.
reel, I guess.
I have a kitty who wanted to come visit. How you doing?
She was screaming the whole time I was having my bath.
Oh, you didn't like being in the room with the bath. This is Eclipse, one of our new family members.
Church is being a lump.
Church is a black cat sitting over by the webcam there. But anyway, so I remember when this was announced, of course, and everybody was kind of up in arms about it. Yes, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Sorry, it wasn't Blofeld that said that, was it? It was Goldfinger. Anyway, I remember when this was announced and everybody was just kind of talking smack about the fact that it was Robert Pattinson. And it's like, well, Batman doesn't sparkle. Yeah. All right. You guys remember a little movie called Batman from 1989? You remember who starred in that? It was Michael Keaton. You might have heard of him. Yeah. Now, this is before the days of the internet, but I can guarantee you if the internet existed then it would have been the same shit, different pile. Angry editorial letters being sent to magazines and newspapers, because that's how you did it back in the day. Boy, am I dating myself. Outraged about the choice of Michael Keaton in the role, because of course at the time he was primarily known for comedy films. He did a lot of comedy earlier in his career, but around the same time that he did those comedies, he also did a little movie called Clean and Sober, which really needs a frickin' Blu-ray. Get on that, Kino Lorber. Come on. Anyway, and in Clean and Sober, he plays a recovering alcoholic, and it's a very powerful, emotional, deadly serious performance, and it was fantastic. I think he might have been nominated for some awards for that too. But anyway, so that came out. And then there was also Beetlejuice, which came out the year before, his first work with Tim Burton. And one of the reasons Tim Burton said he cast him was because when he was doing Beetlejuice, he saw a darkness in him that he wasn't seeing from other actors that I guess were up for the role. So he went with Michael because he knew there was something about Michael that would work as Batman. And lo and behold, he was right. It worked. So when I heard that Matt Reeves cast Robert Pattinson, first off, I knew we were about to see waves of outrage, the likes of which we had not seen since Michael Keaton was first cast. But also, like when Michael Keaton was cast, I had a feeling that Matt Reeves is up to something. He's doing something interesting here, and he sees something in Robert that maybe the rest of us aren't. So, I want to check this out. And lo and behold, what happened? Basically, history repeats itself almost word for freaking word, and everybody's like, oh my god, that is the best Batman movie I've ever seen. He was amazing as Batman. And they're just gushing praise all over the internet. Oh, of course, there's a few people that didn't like it, but you know what? Same with every movie. The vast majority, and the box office receipts seem to back this up, loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, yeah, I just, as a fan of Batman 89, you guys know what a massive fan of Batman 89 I am. But as a fan of Batman 89 and remembering all the backlash when Michael Keaton was cast, seeing the same thing happen with Robert Pattinson, I was like, no. This is a Batman 89 situation. So I'm really looking forward to it. But then, of course, I don't really go to theaters much, which meant I had to wait for the Blu-ray to come out. So, yeah, money was tight, couldn't get it when it first came out, but yeah, contrary to popular belief, even people with decent viewership like me don't get a ton of ad revenue as content creators. Most of the time we're just barely scraping by. Anyway, did finally get around to picking it up, and watched it pretty much right away. As soon as I got home, I was like, okay, I gotta watch this, like, now. And, yeah, definitely one of the best Batman movies I've ever seen. I was actually really, really impressed. And I'm quite excited by the fact that they're doing this kind of as a side universe to the regular DC Universe stuff. So there's like the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batverse, and so we got this. We've got 2 series coming out, apparently. We got one that features the Penguin, played by Colin Farrell. Like, holy moly, what an amazing performance and makeup for that. And then we got an Arkham Asylum series, which I assume we're going to see more of the Riddler, maybe see the Joker in there, because we know he's in there from the last couple scenes of the movie. And, so, and then presumably a Batman 2. So, very cool, very cool. So, really enjoyed that a lot. And I'll just give you a quick look here. I did, of course, get the 4K, by the way, because I figured, you know what? Even though I don't have a 4K TV yet, the next one I buy definitely will be. And, probably going to get if I'm dropping $2,000 on a TV, or no, it's not $2,000, like $1,500 on a TV, might as well spend the extra 100 and get a 4K player too. So, anyway, this is the 4K edition. It's quite nice. No snazzy steelbook or anything like that, but that's okay. I still got to dive into the extras on this, actually. But yeah, I actually really like the 4K cases, how this time they went with black, which just looks so classy instead of the blue. But here we go. So we got the 4K on one disc and Blu-ray on another disc. And then what? Extras? Yeah, we got special features on the third Blu-ray. And I like how they did sort of different little visual motifs on the disc art. I mean, it's very basic, but yeah, it looks like no, not really any art, just sort of the Bat logo, and that's it. But anyway, you know what a massive Batman fan I am, just generally. I have literally every single Batman movie, live action or animated, that they've ever done. And most of the cartoons as well. I just need to pick up that complete series set of The Batman. Yeah, the other The Batman that just came out. And that'll be that. Or will that be Bat? Huh? Sorry, I'm in a silly mood today. Anyway, next up, I'm a huge fan of the 1984 film, huge fan of the books that it's based on, huge fan of the 2000 sci-fi TV miniseries, so of course I had to get the latest, and some say greatest, iteration of DUNE. I don't know if you guys remember when they first premiered the logo. It was missing the little tick on the E, so it was just very stylized, right? It's just it's the curve in different angles, like very cool, very clever. But everybody and their dog was saying, "Dunk," and then there's like, fine, we'll put a little tick in there to make it more obviously an E. I just know, like, some graphic designer was just like tearing out his hair seeing that reaction. So, Big props to you, Mr. or Ms. Graphic Designer, Sir or Madam, for setting your scruples aside and adding the little tick. Anyway, just watched this the other day for the first time, and I've actually, it inspired me to do a trilogy of closer look videos, which I've got coming your way very, very soon. So maybe I could reserve. Well, honestly, I don't have a ton of things to say about it. It's DUNE. Whichever version you watch, it's still basically the same story. So how did this one work as an adaptation? I thought it worked great. The main thing I was curious about was where they were going to cut it off, and I think the point where they cut it off is pretty good. That's a pretty good break point, and we can kind of jump back into the action with part 2 when it comes out. When is that coming out? Like the end of next year, I think. Yeah, so anyway, really enjoyed this a lot. I need to watch it again. I was kind of multitasking because I do that, but I need to watch it again. But I know I'm going to watch it like a million times anyway. But what I remember was amazing. How's that for a review? What I can remember was pretty good, but I don't know about the rest because I don't remember. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, from what I mean, I watched all the main stuff anyway, and I mean, I know the story inside out and backwards anyway, so it's not like I didn't know everything that was going to happen already. But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought the cast was fantastic. I know some hardcore fans were actually up in arms about them gender swapping Dr. Kynes, and I was like, it doesn't really matter. It's such an inconsequential character. I mean, Dr. Kynes is in what, like 2 scenes in the entire story. So who cares? I mean, the purpose of that character is to introduce us through the eyes of our main characters to the world of Dune for the first time, because that's like we meet him or her in this case as soon as they land, essentially, and he's the one or I will say they're the one that takes them on a little tour of the spice mining, and gives them some info about the ecology of Dune and stuff. They get to see a worm for the first time, and it's one of my favorite scenes actually out of all the versions, is that scene where Dr. Kynes takes them out in an ornithopter to go check out the spice harvester, and all 3 versions do that scene, and they all do it pretty similarly. There's not a huge difference between them, but they all kind of have their own little spin on it. All 3 versions, I think, are very well done and very exciting, and so yeah, I had no problem with the gender swap of the character. It was such an inconsequential thing for people to be outraged about. I actually ended up leaving a Dune appreciation group on Facebook because it just got so freaking toxic with these people saying, "Oh, Denis Villeneuve is shitting on the legacy of Dune. Frank Herbert would be turning in his grave," and blah blah blah. And you get to the root of what they're so pissed off about: gender swapping Kynes. It's like, really? So there was just no reasoning with them. But anyway, everybody else was fantastic. I mean, I love Oscar Isaac as an actor, just generally. Like, Moon Knight absolutely blew me away as far as, like, his acting in that was just amazing. Playing 3 very separate and distinct personalities, and you're seeing them as, like, 3 different people, essentially, while at the same time seeing them as 3 different aspects of the same person. Anyway, if you haven't seen Moon Knight, check it out. It's fucking awesome. But having him as Duke Leto was wonderful. He really was able. I wasn't sure he'd be able to carry it, pull that kind of character off, but I think he did great. I think he's one of the best Letos we've had yet. He really had that air of authority about him and royalty almost. So it was very good. And Timothy, God, I can never remember his last name. Chalamet. Thank you. Timothy Chalamet was amazing as Paul. I think the other 2 were also amazing, by the way. I love Kyle MacLachlan, love Alec Newman, but Timothy Chalamet, I think, raised it to another level, honestly. And he is very much how I picture Paul in the books, if that makes sense. The only difference between, I think Paul in the books is a little younger, but that's always the case. They always had them a little older in the movie adaptations. It's kind of like an Ender's Game, how they had them older in the movie than they were in the book. It's just easier. The problem is when you have like so many younger characters in the cast, that means if something of this kind of highbrowness, a certain level of acting talent is expected, shall we say, and it just means you'd have to get more younger actors at that level of acting, and not all young actors are at that level of acting. It's just a fact. I mean, you need life and experience, and and so forth. So that's why there's not a lot of really good super young actors. So they just cast them older in those cases because it just makes it easier. And very often, because there's so few super good young actors, they tend to be expensive. But not just expensive, they also tend to be busy because they're in high demand. So I always said, while I'm on that subject, that Haley Joel Osment would have been the perfect age and just incredible acting talent for young Anakin Skywalker in Episode 1. Sorry, Jake Lloyd. Love you, buddy. But Haley would have been better. And Lucas sure as hell had the money to hire him. Can you imagine? Just think about that for a second. Just as an aside, think about that for a second. Episode 1, I mean, it came out, what, around the same time as Sixth Sense, so give or take a couple years, right? So he would have been at the right age. Episode 1 with Haley Joel Osment as young Anakin. You know? Sixth Sense kid. Come on. Like, he would have had the acting chops to really get the, you know, subtly convey the inner darkness at play, you know? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, you're wrong. Anyway, Timothée Chalamet was great. And I gotta say, Zendaya as Chani, I mean, she is Chani. She is absolutely Chani from the books. Like, 110%. Could not be more perfect. Absolutely love Zendaya. And I'm just looking at the cover here. Yeah, Jason Isaacs as Duncan Idaho. I mean, not Jason Isaacs. Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho. He was great. And the effects and everything, like just the spectacle of the worms and the epicness with so much at stake of all the big battle scenes and everything. Plus, you have all of the what people love about Dune, what's so much fun about Dune for me anyway, is all the political intrigue of it, and all the double cross and triple cross and everybody, you know, sneaking around doing their own things and having their own plans within plans within plans, and the whole thing with the Bene Gesserit and their plans. You got the Emperor and his plans, the Harkonnen and their plans, and how they're all basically double crossing each other, and it's so much fun. It's great. It's basically sci-fi soap opera, but more on the opera side, if you will. It kind of has that I don't know, that sort of classical epic quality to it, if that makes sense. So anyway, loved it. Expect to love it even more with each successive rewatch. So anyway, wow, I did not expect to ramble quite so much, but there you go, some mini reviews. Mini reviews, I guess. So loved this. Really liked the sort of gritty take on it. The almost Jigsaw-like version of the Riddler in this, I thought was terrific. And I love that we got to see more of the detective side of the Dark Knight detective, which was great. Doctor Strange, just, you know, cheesy 70s goodness. And honestly, being for a TV movie, this has pretty impressive special effects. And is actually not a bad movie. It's actually pretty fun. Like, being a take on that era of the comics, it's not too far off. And it definitely nails the origin. And Dune, fantastic. I've loved all the screen versions of Dune. I love it just as a sci-fi franchise. I really want to get that new RTS game they put out of it, Dune Spice Wars. That looks so good. Anyway, I think that's about it for this one, folks. Hope you enjoyed. So thank you very much for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors. Feel free to click thanks if you'd like to toss a few bucks to support the show. Always appreciate that. Be sure to catch me on Twitch. I stream just about every day, and I will see you next time. Until then, sayonara.